Hello, I'm Chuck Martin, and welcome to the Voices of the Internet of Things podcast. With me today is Beverly Jackson, Vice President, Social Media Marketing and Content Strategy at MGM Resorts International, one of the world's leading global hospitality companies. Its destination resort brands include MGM Grand, Aria, Bellagio, Mandalay Bay, Luxor, and The Mirage. As a digital marketing champion for the company, Beverly is building a center of excellence for social and content marketing. She is a consummate early adopter and served as the head of social marketing for Yahoo. For more than 20 years, Beverly has held leadership roles in digital marketing in some of the largest agencies and media companies. These include IPG, WPP, and Tribune Interactive. She joins me here today at the annual Future M conference in Boston. Welcome, Beverly.
Hey Chuck, how are you?
I'm good. So you're going to be presenting here in a little while.
I am. Looking forward to it.
So tell me what you're going to be talking about.
So I'm having a conversation today with the audience about influencer marketing because the news of late is very popular and exciting, and there's a recent Adweek article about the role of influencers as content makers inside of organizations and how organizations are leaning more on those young content creators to drive market share, share of voice, share of wallet, and to leverage some of the new platforms and how that content's created and resonates and engaged. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how brands should be interacting or how they should be thinking about interacting with influencers.
So, and you've been thinking about this for some time.
I have. So I started, I was one of the early starters of social media at the award show level. So I worked at the Grammys and started social media there. And we thought a lot about how content was received on multiple devices, particularly in mobile and second and third screen experiences, and creating content for those experiences that was differentiated from what you were seeing in broadcast television. And the evolution of that naturally turned into sort of influencer marketing and how could we tell the story better about music and about music fans by allowing those who were fans to actually tell those stories as opposed to us telling it from an institutional perspective.
In those early days, adoption wasn't that large. Did you just basically grow with it?
No, we absolutely did. And so it was much more hands-on. There weren't as many agencies involved in the conversation at that point. There were lots of early startup blogger networks that were out there, but none of them were significantly big. And so if you were a brand looking to harness the power of influencer marketing, it really did require a lot of hands-on, intimate experience and intimate interactions with the bloggers and the vloggers. It came down to things as simple as actually having a conversation with them. I would fly out to meet people. I would fly them in to meet me well before we put them in. We put the brand's content in their hands. You move on to something like a Yahoo environment where there's significant budget to now pay influencers for things. And so you're now no longer in this sort of organic, authentic, intimate relationship with influencers. You now have very much a commercial relationship with them. And there are contracts involved and there are expectations and there's ROI and performance metrics and the like. And so where I find myself now at MGM is a little bit somewhere in the middle. So there are performance metrics involved, but there's very much a reliance on the importance of authenticity.
So why is this big at MGM?
Oh, because MGM is in the middle of a transformation, if you will. So many people would have seen our new campaign launch at the Emmys this week, and over the course of the next several weeks, we'll be rolling out a new campaign that talks about the transformation of our brand. And so we're moving from a house of brands to a branded house. So we're moving from, Aria, Bellagio, Luxor, MGM Grand. You may know our new properties in National Harbor outside of DC. You may know our properties in China, but you don't know MGM Resorts because that's the parent brand. And so as opposed to just being a house, does it stand for something? Just being a name, a holding company, does it stand for something? What does it stand for? And we've made a decision and we've made a very clear distinction that for us it's about entertainment And so moving from a hospitality and a gaming company to an entertainment company, and there are lots of reasons why you'd want to do that. They're not that hard to figure out. But you think about us building something like a T-Mobile Arena, and now we're going to have Vegas Golden Knights, which is the new hockey team, coming to play in that venue. Our relationship with the NBA's Summer League, residencies with people like Cher and Ricky Martin, and extended performance opportunities with people like Ricky Martin and the like, with like Bruno Mars and the like. So you can see that entertainment plays a central part in what we do. And then we're sort of expanding the definition of entertainment to some degree. And entertainment is the food and beverage experience that you have at a very high-end restaurant, or a sommelier, or something that you might experience with a mixologist in a great club.
So what do you think about, or how do you view the state of technology today, and how do you track where it's going?
So for us, this evolution, the transformation, technology is central to that. I mean, we deliver personalized guest experiences at scale. You can't do that without technology. Technology plays a central part in that. And whether it's artificial intelligence or bot technology or other sorts of integrations of technology into that. We just hired a chief digital officer. And as I think about, and so he came from Starbucks, I won't talk about who he is, but it's easy to figure out who he is. I'll let him talk about himself. But we're super excited to have someone of his caliber, because as we start to think about more of the things that we roll out, whether it's actual technology in the rooms, whether it is the ability to use tablets and one touch and voice command and your key or your phone as the fob to open your room door and have your personalized settings adjusted as you walk into the room, how you like your lights, how you like your water temperature, how you like the shades drawn. Those are all very high-end personalized experiences that sort of feed into the space of entertainment, of hospitality. And that's important, because when people feel like you know them and you can use technology to deliver those experiences, one, to keep track of them, the other to sort of deliver them, that means there's a greater opportunity for you to increase market share and revenue. So technology is at the center of almost everything we do going forward.
So how do you go about it as an organization? How do you go about selecting say like the Amazon Alexas or Google Homes or the next shiny thing that obviously would work in a room? What's the process? So
the easy thing for me is I don't have to do that. There are other really smart people that get to do that. I get to tell the story to our guests about how that actually will unfold in terms of their own experiences. But there's a team of folks who, and it starts from the moment you log on to our website, the moment that you go to the website and you sign in with your MLife card and you make a reservation, and we know where you've gone before. So when you have 40,000 beds and 77,000 employees and 27 global destinations, it becomes more and more difficult to sort of have that one-to-one relationship that you've had with customers. And so you need to use the technology to do that. And so all the teams, especially in the marketing org under our chief experience officer, are sort of leaning into that. And whether that's the chief digital officer, whether that's the head of brand strategy, our agency and content team, or whether it's our e-commerce team, we're sort of all leaning forward into that, because it's going to be a decision that impacts us all. It's not as simple as, is it Google Home or Alexis? It is what fits best into our ecosystem. How do we best take that data and use that data at scale? How do we mine that data for additional opportunities to turn it into Facebook targeting? So it all goes hand in hand. And so it's not just one vertical making that decision.
So how do you roll that out internally? That sounds massive.
It is. It is. I think that's part of the transformation that we're going through right now. I think our CXO, who is very non-traditional in the way she thinks about the incorporation of technology into the marketing org, and how she thinks about data into the marketing org, and how we take those insights and we sort of customize them along the way. And so each of the verticals that falls under, even from PR to e-commerce to digital technology to down to social, how she thinks about how we all collaborate around those principles is sort of what makes it easier for us to do this. So creating swim lanes eliminating silos and creating opportunities for us to collaborate across those swim lanes. That's the easiest way to explain that.
So did this just happen one day where the CXO or the CEO said, this is going to be our new approach, or the group got together and said, okay, strategically, we're going to embrace all of this and move forward?
We went on a camping trip into the mountains. We all had a fireside chat. No, it's actually been a multi-year process. And so I started with MGM back in June of 2015. And what's really been interesting is that it has been a multi-year process. It has taken us the last 2.5 years to get to this place. And it has taken a top to bottom review of the organization. Everyone is involved in the process at some level. We talk about whether it's how we deliver service. We talk a lot about the online promise has to match the real life experience. And so
that's tough.
It is very tough. And so to consistently deliver that at scale, really a difficult challenge. And you can use technology to do that, and you can use the Internet of Things to do that, and you can sort of use connected devices to do that, and you can use personalized experiences based on data that you gleaned from people, and building these personal sort of folders, if you will, or portfolios of each guest. You can do that, but we do that from custom audiences to the return guest. We do it from the custom audiences of bringing people into the ecosystem on a Facebook side, and then having them engage with a piece of content, all the way to the end where we're delivering service and we're going back and we're doing a test to see if we met those expectations. So we didn't do it overnight. It was a multi-year process. It involves a lot of different groups of the organization, but it is from the top of the organization, from our chairman, who said to me when I first started 2.5 years ago that he wanted to be on Snapchat. He was like, I want to be a brand that's on Snapchat in a meaningful way. And me being here today, sitting with Celia Goldstein or Celia Snaps and talking about MGM's involvement in online content creation around influencers on Snapchat.
Wow, so what have you learned? It sounds like this process avoids a lot of surprises, but there must be some guest experiences that you didn't expect.
Oh, guest experiences happen every day. Vegas is a very exciting town, and not that we don't have businesses in other parts of the country, but people come to Vegas to experience the unexpected. And when you invite people to experience the unexpected, you must be prepared to manage for the unexpected. And you need to deliver on the ability to sort of not be caught flat-footed. And so that means really, truly using the data that you've collected to have a ever-evolving list of insights that you're able to adjust and adapt to on the fly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm guessing you must use some AI in there.
We do use a little bit of AI, and I think that we're going to use even more AI. I think that our opportunity to use artificial intelligence in what we do is going to be even greater in the future. And so we've learned a lot. We've made mistakes along the way. We try to make the mistakes not things that we can't recover from. And we try to, if we're going to fail at the beginning, fail fast, and then iterate, and then make it better. I think the challenge is though, for as many unexpected experiences that are possible, there are misadventures and mishaps around the corner. And so we use technology and we use the information that we gather also in our security systems, and we use that in our crisis communication systems as well. So those things are all connected. I'm very much connected to all facets of the business in that way. So it helps me to be able to make sure that the content that we're putting out, based on the technology that we've invested in, delivers on the experience, but course corrects when we go offline.
Right. Making an apology for something.
That's exactly right.
Or being responsive to a customer. So what keeps you up at night, if anything?
Lots of stuff keeps me up at night. For those people that follow me on Twitter or Snapchat, they know that I don't sleep very often. I get very little sleep. I'm not sure that's healthy or that's something that we want to model. That's sort of bad behavior. But I think a lot about making sure. So I'm a big proponent of early adoption and pioneers. I talk oftentimes about there are three kinds of digital digital citizens, if you will. There's the pioneer, the person who's early adopter, way out front, doing stuff that's never been done before. Sometimes that's me. And then, going out and then seeing what's out there and seeing if it's something that's usable. And then they're the people that come after. They're the digital settlers, and they put in the processes and the systems and the infrastructure so that it's scalable and we can replicate it and that sort of stuff. And then behind them are the digital natives, the people who know no other way. And so that system is just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And so that's how we grow. That's how we evolve. That's how innovation occurs. And so I think the challenge for me is, in an organization with 77,000 people, in an organization where everyone is involved in service delivery, how do we ensure that everyone has an understanding of the impact of technology on their role? And that's specific to our business, but I think it's probably reasonable to assume that other business verticals have those same kinds of concerns. So training and education are incredibly important. It is very difficult to, one of the burdens of being a pioneer, especially in the digital forefront, is that you need to come back and teach others so that you have the largest population and adoption of digital natives as possible. So you can't just be a digital pioneer and just keep rolling on. At some point, you got to throw a lifeline back to the rest of the folks so they can figure out how this thing is supposed to work.
Right. So in the hospitality industry, are you ahead in these things?
I think we're ahead in these things. I think in some areas we're far in front of our competitors. I do a lot of reading and research about some of the other competitors in our space, but I try not to just look at there's a lot of disruption in our space. You look at like Airbnb and Home Exchange and some of these others. There's a lot of disruption in our space, and that's in the space of hospitality. There's transformation or disruption in the space of gaming as well. You think about online gaming and digital gaming and console gaming and e-gaming. There's so many ways that gaming has changed, and we need to change about that. I work a lot with our team on our online gaming and making online gameable accessible to millennials and helping them to understand how they can participate in the games and to leverage those opportunities and the fun and the excitement of that in a way that's native to them, not slot box experience.
Right. So final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Final thoughts, I think we have a lot of opportunity ahead of all of us. I think that the burden and the opportunity is not just for the operators and owners in this space. I think there's a huge opportunity or burden for the consumers of content and experiences to also make technology available to themselves in their decision making. And as people begin to eliminate noise, they're going to start to look for the things that are most comfortable to them, that provide them with the greatest opportunity for a personalized experience that exceeds their expectations. And that's ultimately what we're all trying to do, regardless of the business vertical that we serve.
Beverly Jackson, thank you very much, and thank you all for listening to the Voices of the Internet of Things.